flaky. So I have no way of raising my hand,
Okay, well, then
but I'm here.
just speak up. We can see, actually, when you talk, a little light blinks if you want to know. We can see you're active. So we have lost, though, we've lost DPW, and the other item were the rates, and looking at them, and there's a process where we'll be doing a hearing, and if the finance committee has looked at the rates and is ready to say we approve them or we have questions on them, we can have a draft report that we can speak to. There's a change in the regulations that's pretty much just puts the rates in each year. So there's two things we have to read, and the other is the actual rates. Mandy?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the budgets of those funds already. I'm not sure the budgets can decrease. The rates have to be what they are to support the budget. So I mean, we've known they're extensive increases, but we've known they're coming. Because we have a lot of capital projects that are necessary. So I'm okay waiting for DPW, Amy and Guilford to be able to rejoin for the rates, but I'm not sure I have many questions about it, because if the budget, if we're okay with the budget and the budget seems to be what it needs to be, to me, there's not much we can do about the rate at this point, that it kind of just has to be there. And we have a duty as a council to explain why it's such a large jump.
And Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Mandy, except I'm not sure that the rates are high enough, to be honest with you. I think I worry about our infrastructure, both the water, but especially the sewer, especially in light of the public comment. I don't know if Paul was here, but it worries me that we may have to revisit the rates partway through the year if something bad happens. If we have a catastrophic failure at the waste treatment plant, I don't know how we're going to pay for it. So, Paul,
I see Melissa's hand is up too. I was thinking that way too. Bob, we could write our report as saying there may be a need to adjust these because we've got some pending capital pieces. Melissa and then Andy. Melissa?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to let someone else speak first. I just wanted to say that we have an agreement with the university that we submit to them in advance our increases. As you can recognize, these increases are significant. And I think that we did our best to come close to the number that we had advertised to the university in the winter as to what the increases would be. We built in pretty carefully with Guilford and Amy's help these significant increases and the capital that we know to be coming. And so part of that capital expenditure and those big increases is to review what is coming down the path of infrastructure improvements that we need to do. I feel like I'm one of these, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, but one of these increases is over 20%, which is fairly significant. And I feel like, maybe we should have been increasing it more significantly year over year in the past 3 to 5 years to get to this point. And this is sort of a true up, but I anticipate that when we get that information back on the study that Amy and Guilford are going to undertake specifically for the wastewater treatment plant, that then we will have additional increases coming. So there's an adjustment this year, and there will probably be a significant increase next year. Maybe not as great as this one. Hopefully, we've trued up to some point, but then we're going to have to continue to increase over time. But to do anything more without the backup feels a little, we need to get those studies, understand what the infrastructure costs are, and then adjust accordingly to that. So that's sort of my thought on how we went about this. And at that same time, to your point earlier in the meeting, Mandy Jo, we were going to look at, is our rate setting appropriate? You know, what Amherst been doing, what is best for Amherst, and have, you know, a third, or maybe it was Bernie who said this, have a third party look at, you know, our process for setting rates, so that we don't find ourselves in this sort of like, we had all this deferred maintenance and we're now making this large adjustment. So yes, yes, could we have done more? We did sort of some things that we had hoped to do cash capital, we couldn't afford to do in the projection that we had originally done. And so we had to borrow for that. And that's why we were able to stretch some of that out a little bit longer. But unfortunately, what we will know when we get that study done on the wastewater system, and the water system is almost complete, is how much it will really cost us to do the infrastructure improvements that we are looking at. So that's sort of my thought on that.
Andy?
Yeah, actually, it's good order, because my question boils down to a follow-up to what you just said, Melissa, and that is, how much once we get the bottom line of what it is it's gonna cost to do what we need to do and probably should have done a long time ago, can we use debt in order to manage over time the increases and the ability of smoothing a little bit going forward in the inevitable increases?
I think that was a question of you, Melissa, and or Paul. Yeah.
So I will say that, unfortunately, I watched the news last night, and rates are going up. Not, you know, so yes, I think that that's sort of a tool that we have to use, but unfortunately, that tool is not as economical as maybe it was a month ago. So
Because of
I
interest
think
rates.
that's sort of a necessary way that we have to manage long-term obligations, just like you would in your personal life or in a business. You know, like you can't buy a house with cash anymore. You're going to have to mortgage that. I think that, yes, we're going to have to use debt, but the unfortunate reality is that what is coming is interest costs increasing, which just means that, yes, we can spread that increase over time, but it will cost us unfortunately that much more. Whereas in years past, or in the last 5 years or so, we've been able to capitalize on, or maybe even 10, I think, lower interest rates. I think that shift has begun to change now, and we'll have to adjust to that as those things come up.
So it sounds like everyone, I mean, given Bob, what I just heard is that likely some of the rates will need to be higher, but we don't have the information yet to know. And so the rates right now are based on what is known. And so
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It makes sense. But I am a little concerned about catastrophic failures in our systems.
well,
And
I
there's
can
nothing we can
draft
do about it, but
I can draft a report that emphasizes those concerns, that we're in a, yes, the rates are up, particularly on one, quite a bit, but the studies that need to be done haven't been done yet, and we should be prepared. This isn't the end of it. You know, Mandy, I mean, I might be able to word it a little bit more eloquently than that.
That's exactly what I was going to say, though. I think our report should say these are large increases this year, but this is probably not the end of large increases, and here's why. Because I think we need to manage expectations of our water and sewer users. That it's coming, and it's coming because we have some large infrastructure projects that need done to maintain sanitary water and sewer systems, which is an essential service. With that, I would say, given this, we might not need Guilford and Amy to come back to a meeting.
Right. Yeah, I don't think.
Thinking
they-
about staff time.
Bernie?
Okay. Yeah, I just like to say that I share my concerns about gas strikes. What happens after the strike? The problem you've always had with water and sewer is that it's hidden, literally. You don't see the pipes, you don't see the condition of them, you don't see what's happening, the corrosion, and the other stuff that takes when you place metal and caustic and so. I think we're right to say that there will be more costs coming. This is not the end of it. And all that this is really a choice situation. It's not going to all of a sudden all of us can start drilling wells in our backyard to get our own water. So we need to make sure that we have adequate funding for what will be in place now for what we know is coming. And I think it's good practice to add on to your rates some fact if the Department of Revenue long ago Fairway said 5% would be good to begin to set aside for future projects and for those emergencies. So I would agree that we don't have to have Gilbert and Company back. I think they're what the rates are, and we need to give a commitment and move forward.
Thank you. So, then I will make a, Mandy always makes the motions more specifically, but I was gonna make a motion that we recommend that the council approve the water rates as presented, and we'll have to do the latest memo to make sure we're referring to it, and the accompanying changes in the regulations. I'm doing it as one motion. If I need to make it two motions, Mandy, let me know. Yeah.
Did you want sewer included in that? You only talked about water.
No, exactly, to approve water and sewer rates as presented. Yes, thank you. And then, and the accompanying changes in the regulations that reflect the revised rates.
I'll second that.
And I will put it to a vote, if there's no further discussion, and I'm not seeing any hands up. So Mandy,
Aye.
Kathy's a yes. Bob,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Bernie,
Support.
Thomas, Tom,
Support.
and Alicia.
Yes.
It's unanimous with both residents. So I will draft a short report on this. The next council meeting is June 2nd, so we have a little bit of time, and get a draft out to make sure I captured the kinds of messaging we want to do with this recommendation, that it's not just a go ahead and say yes. If we could, but Paul, I'm not really recommending this, but I thought the tour that we had of the wastewater treatment plant, and when I asked when most of this was put in, it was the last time the federal government had a capital project that paid for municipal infrastructure, it was not just old, but it was from an era where the federal government actually believed in revenue sharing as opposed to taking money away from state and municipal governments. I was working on federal issues when I watched it going from revenue sharing to block grants to less than block grants to, that the income tax we pay doesn't come back to us. So I don't think we can include pictures, but I thought it was, and I think I wrote Guilford a note at the time. It was extremely good to take the council on those tours. They were eye-opening. What we were seeing and the conditions we were watching people work in because of the infrastructure of the plant, the condition of the workspace. So we will get a bit of a flavor of that, and it is 2:45 miraculously. We seem to have gone through a huge number of questions, and I see Paul's hand is up.
Yeah, just a quick update about the power outage. So there are 5,000 customers affected. There's a failure at the College Street substation, mostly College Street, Route 9, U Drive. So no estimate yet for the restoration of power. So
But is it going to affect the mics at the raising of
they're portable,
great.
battery. Yeah, I think we'll be fine out there.
I just received my robocall from Eversource that says it'll be fixed by 4:30.
Right.
We'll
I'm on
see.
Tanglewood. I still have power, so.
Yeah, well,
And I only lost it for like 3 minutes. I was in the middle of typing a text to Kathy that said I might disappear when my battery backup on the Wi-Fi goes, but
I think Bob just invited everybody to his house.
no, it's safe way up in North Amherst too. I think we're at Mandy's down at the outer edges too. So, it is 2:47 and I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
And I'll put that to a vote. Mandy,
I
Kathy's a yes. Bob,
aye.
Andy,
Aye.
let me get Alicia,
Yes.
Tom,
Support?
and Bertie.
My phone's at 29%, so I support.
Okay, so we are unanimous. And Paul, I'll send a note. A big thanks to both Guilford and Amy.
Yeah, really.
I thought the answers they gave were thoughtful and went beyond just yeses and nos. They were terrific. So thank you.
Thank you.
We are adjourned at 2:47.